Well, today we're doing another cooking videos, but today we're doing some candy. Candy from the orange peels and lemon peels, what we call candied citrus peels. There's a little bit story behind this. For years, I will buy the candied orange peels, and they're very, very good, but they're very expensive, hard to find here in the States. And when I make mine at home, they don't turn out as good as the one commercially. So finally I find a beautiful recipe which works, and guess what? The one I make at home, they are even better than the one I buy commercially, and they're healthier because I have organic raw sugar, honey, water, and organic orange citrus. So that's a good win. But the problem with it takes 10 days to make these candy. You don't cook for 10 days, by the way. It's just 5 minutes of every 24 hours. What you do, you boil the water with sugar, with the citrus peels, and that's it. But it takes 10 days. And the thing is, they turn out better than the one I buy commercially. So I'm going to show you all the process. Where do we need the citrus peels? Well, the first one, I like to use them in les crêpes Suzette, the famous Italian panettone, the Christmas brioche bread. By the way, the syrup from this recipe, it's beautiful because it's something you can use to brush all your desserts. So we're not going to throw it out. And there is no waste here. It takes up to 10 days. You may do it in 7 days, but 10 days, I get a fabulous result. So let me show you how it's done. Gather your beautiful citrus. I have 3 big, large oranges and 2 lemons. They're fresh and organic. And we're going to use 2 methods for peeling them. I prefer the vegetable peeler because I can get very thin skin with hardly any citrus flesh in it, no white layer, very clean. I don't have to do anything. And don't worry about the size or how they're going to come out, because we can trim those peels later once they are cooked. So you can see they are perfect. And I'm going to show you that we can use the paring knife, but you have to do some work later. If you have the citrus and you're not ready to make this recipe, you can always peel your oranges and lemons and you keep them in a jar with cold water in the fridge, and you change that water every day until you're ready to make this recipe. Actually, that's how I do it. And here I'm showing you the difference between the thick peel and the skinny peel, the different method of doing it. Now we're going to peel the lemons. Now we're going to move to the most important step of this recipe. We're going to weigh the peels. So we weigh in the orange peels first, then we're going to weigh the water. It should be 3 times the orange peels, meaning since we have 100 grams of orange peels, that means we have 300 grams of water. Then we're going to add 300 grams of sugar. We do the same thing here. We have only 50 grams of the lemon peels. That means we're going to weigh 150 grams of sugar, then 150 grams of water. So basically it's 3 times the weight of the citrus peels. And now we're ready to go to the next step. Start preparing the orange peels for this process by pouring cold water in a pot with the peels in them, and we're going to bring it to a boiling point. The moment it gets there, we're going to remove the pot from the stove. We're going to drain the peels and repeat the process, meaning you start with a cold water again after draining the peels. And we're going to do that 3 times. This process will remove some bitterness from the peels. And I would recommend you to do it 3 times instead of twice like most of people, because it really gives us a better result. Now we're ready for the second or third step, maybe. We're going to pour the water, the sugar, in a large pot over medium heat. We want to dissolve that sugar. We really don't want to see any sugar in that water and before adding the peels. So we're going to wait until it starts boiling. Then we add the orange peels. Be adding some honey to the boiling water to prevent the peels from crystallizing. Then we're going to add the peels and we let them boil just for a few seconds, maybe 30 seconds the most. Then we take the pot off the heat immediately and we let it sit at room temperature without any lid until it completely cools down. And we're going to do the same thing for the lemon peels. Water with sugar, we wait until it's completely boiled, we add in some honey, and then we add the lemon peels, and we're going to let them boil for a few seconds, and then we let it cool down at room temperature without any lid. The reason, because we don't want any moist coming back to that syrup. So now we have the 2 hot pots. We're going to wait until they're completely cooled down, and we're going to cover each one of them with a lid and leave them at room temperature. You don't need to put them in the refrigerator for 24 hours until the next day. And you're going to check the peels. They're not ready yet. A small tip what to do with your oranges once you remove the peels. You can remove the white layer and slice them to use them for your breakfast or your salad. But for the lemon, you just squeeze the lemon juice from the lemons, and you can use it for your salad dressing or drizzle it on anything you want. "24 hours later, the next day, we're going to check our orange peels, and you can see they're not candied yet. So we need to keep going and go to the next step. We're going to place the cold pot on the stove and we're going to boil it. Once it gets to the boiling point, we wait for a few seconds and we remove the pot from the heat and we let it sit down for a couple of hours until it cools down without the lid. Then we cover it and then we wait until the next day, 24 hours later, and we repeat the same process. Ten days later, the syrup is thick, it's sticky, it feels like honey, and the peels, they are translucent. So finally, I get a good result. I'm happy with that, and I think I achieved my goal. So 10 days of work, it's worth it. So we're done. All you have to do now, store them in a jar with a tight lid and make sure they are covered with the syrup to keep them moist, and you can store them in the fridge for many months. When you need them, get them out of the jar, cut them any way you want. Here I'm cutting them in very tiny little strips, or just eat them the way they are. I'm on social media like Instagram and Facebook. Find me there, ask questions. I share small stories over there, and you can ask questions and I'll be happy to answer them. By the way, I always leave the link to the recipe with the full details, like the ingredient, the temperature, on my website, chefrachida.com. Please check it out. You can leave your comments over there. If there is anything I miss, I can always change the recipe on my website. It's difficult to go to the video and change it if I skip an important step. So go back to my site and leave that comment, and I will definitely update the recipe if I have to, and I will answer your question. Hope you like this recipe, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.